Paranormal Chat are just that. Any topics of discussion during a broadcasted show is in no way the exclusive view nor opinion of the host or any Webb Radio Network staff. You're listening to the Fox Paranormal Chat on the Webb Radio Network. And now, Michael and Destiny Fox.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Destiny Fox here, and
Michael.
my handsome husband Michael, and Cody's with us.
Hello.
And Jessica is with us.
Hey guys.
Hey, and we've got a
Hello.
guest tonight, Austin Light, and he's just cute
Hello.
as he can be. Would y'all just look how cute he is? Goodness gracious. We're going to be talking about a comic book series that he created, and I know nothing about. So, but we're going to make this work. I do know you started showing an interest at 3 years old. That's awful young. Tell us about you.
Yeah. Well, in third grade, I had an interest in that. I was making some really naive, dumb comics with my friends, and my friend Kevin was kind of the funny guy, and I was kind of the artist. So we made some comics for a few months, but that was kind of my earliest memory of an introduction into just having fun with that medium.
Awesome.
But I've always been interested in drawing.
I have an interest in painting, and I absolutely suck at it, but I just keep doing it. And my intention was I wish I had that over here. I'd show it to you. A cute little fox. That's our logo, is a fox. And I had drawn out this cute little fox, and then as I began to paint it and fill it in, it looks so sadistic. I mean, everything I paint turns into looking evil, and I don't know why. Maybe it is something deep.
You got to lean into it.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yes,
I think my alter ego shows in my paintings. But now I had a comic book, and I'll tell you, the difference in a book and a comic is I bought some of the Walking Dead comics. You know, and they were like, we were on one season, and I thought, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. And so I found some comics on Amazon. And the one thing that caught my eye was the drawings in these, that you find yourself not only reading, what the characters are saying, but looking at the artwork. And those characters in the comic book look nothing like the real ones.
No, yeah, that's what really catches your eye when you're looking at the comics, the graphics that's been drawn into it.
Right. Well, there's a lot of comics that get away with like horrible art, but genius writing. If you can do that, that means your writing or your joke telling or whatever is very high level. Because there's a lot of turn off when it comes to bad art, and then there's also kind of like a happy medium between charming bad art, and then like just very trying to break into your style bad art. Like I started out very horrible in my junior high and high school days, and through college, and everything just kind of has to slowly evolve. But that kind of art can be jarring if you have an eye for different kinds of art. But The Walking Dead is a very interesting one, and I thought you were going to say you jumped ahead and you were the comic was not following the show as accurately as
No, it
you
doesn't.
thought.
It doesn't. But
No,
I was intrigued with
yeah,
it.
it didn't follow the show. The show didn't follow the comic.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I really, so my style's in black and white, and The Walking Dead was kind of an introduction to that black and white style for me. I never really thought that the Western side of the comics would be using a lot of black and white. And then I was also introduced just a few weeks ago to The Crow, is also a graphic novel, also in black and white. The thing about The Crow is that it uses a lot of screen tones, Japanese style ways of shading and rendering a page. But I had no idea that it was also in black and white. But I just don't really think in color, and it also adds another layer of work that I would have to do for my comic. So I just don't do it. I like the black and white and the manga style of the comic. It gives it the right vibe to me. So
Awesome. So do you have like a series of different books, or is it just American Demon? I mean, I saw a picture of you dressed up.
So American Demon Comics is my brand. That's the umbrella. And I do dress up. I dress up as this character, Diona. She's kind of my alter ego mascot thing for the brand. So I always have fun doing that, but she's not involved in any kind of the stories or anything. And then the story that I'm working on currently, the title is Envy. And then I plan on having more titles under the umbrella of American Demon Comics.
Okay.
So it's not actually about a demon?
This one in particular is Envy is about demons. And then I plan on I'll go ahead and give a little synopsis. The following title that I plan on making is a Western, and it's about a hired gun that was like a bounty hunter, not really an official of the government, but hired by the government to go and cover up Bigfoot evidence and cover up the people that kind of like a Men in Black kind of thing, but more lawless, so I've got to write about cryptids and stuff, so anything paranormal is amazing.
Now, do you do all your graphics in it and storyline?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You do all your graphics in that yourself and
yes, I have to do every bit of the art of the work that goes into the comic. Now for a variant cover,
sorry.
oh, it's okay. For a variant cover for the comic, I usually get somebody else to do it, just because I want to have that exclusive hand in a different cover, kind of portraying the comic in a different way. But the floppies, which is what the standard comic is, floppy, they're not really my priority. I'm planning on having them be an omnibus or a big story, and that's kind of the end goal for each series, is having 1 to 2 or 3 books worth of the comic.
Yeah. No, I remember growing up. I remember getting the Marvel comics, and reading a lot of those as a child. Reading about, Superman and the Fantastic Four and all that. comics, the comic side of them.
Yeah,
Right.
the books are like old and all, and what he's got and what he's introducing is a whole new style.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm intrigued with it.
That's the attempt. Are y'all picking up any kind of feedback
Yeah,
or
I
noise?
am. I wonder, Jessica, mute your mic for a second, hon.
Yeah,
It's
that's where it's at.
Jessica.
Okay.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do about it, guys. So I'm going to have to stay muted.
Okay.
Well, if you have any questions or want to chime in, Jessica, feel free to do so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jessica has, she draws very good too. She's an artist herself.
Now, are you going to be at the Comic-Con this year?
I will be.
All right. So we'll get to see some of your work firsthand when we get there.
Yes. I can send the e-file, the PDF version of my comic, and you read it digitally after this. I probably should have done that beforehand, just so that there was a little bit more to go off of. But
Right.
I didn't think about it, and I did it for Amy, but I don't think she ever looked at it. So
Oh, okay. Well, I can always, trust me, I can always find something to talk about. This won't be like an hour of just nothing. I promise you. I'll come up with something always.
Well, I think the listeners really want to know about the work and the time that you have to put in,
Yes.
To generate one of these comics.
Well, the process is a little in depth. I have to kind of script it. I will just kind of freestyle a script, and then if I'm good with that script and the direction the story's going, I jump into doing the thumbnails for what the pages will start to break up and look like. And then as I have a thumbnail and I kind of give it composition, I'll go back on the script and see how they're going to connect. And then when I'll do that, and that's kind of like the first version of editing for me. So
Right.
I'll edit on the script. If it didn't fit right, if it doesn't sound right, if it doesn't fit the character or something like that, I'll change it up a little bit. And then I start making the pages, penciling in each page. So I'll go to the big paper, pencil in what is referencing the thumbnail, and then what I'll do after I pencil that first go through, I flip the paper over and put a light box under it, and then I'll fix any mistakes that I might see, because now my perspective is different. It's flipped. And that's a good time to kind of fix anatomy or faces or anything like that. I'll go through, do that, and then I scan them when I'm happy with the pencils, and then it's then going to be from there on digital, and then I will trace it again, and then again just kind of like I'll probably trace it verbatim and then flip it back to the normal perspective, and then fix anything else again. And that's just the fastest way to be able to do that flipping process, because that's just one of the first things that my friend Kevin, he's a Marvel DC artist that Low Mill Arts in Huntsville. That's one of the first things that he is very adamant about, is giving yourself a new perspective to look at something. But for him, he likes to do everything digital now. But I don't feel like I get any kind of energy. I don't feel like I get the some raw emotion, I guess you could say, in doing digital only. So I like to start out with pencils. That's where I can really rough it out and see where I need to let it be rough and where I need to really tighten up the lines and everything.
Right.
But once it's in the final process, I just go over it again, tighten up all the lines, and then add the background tones, then add the character tones, then add the dialogue, and then add the onomatopoeia. And then that page is done, and then I'll move on to the next page.
Wow. So there's a lot of work just in completing one page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Do you have like a sample we can see?
So which sample would you? I've got the full comic here.
Okay. Can we just open the pages? I'm so curious. I want to see.
Okay. Let me see if I can have it up here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome drawing.
It's pretty detailed. I like it.
Yeah.
I do too. That is awesome.
So these first few pages I did in Photoshop. These 4 pages, and then on this page, I believe, I swapped over to a different program.
Mhm.
And it gave me a little bit more leeway. So throughout this comic, I was learning how to use the new program.
Right.
And so there were some hiccups in doing that. And then by the time I'm working on the second issue now, and it's 20 pages in, and it's been a lot easier. Some pages go quick. Some pages are about 4 or 5 hours timed into the digital. That's not counting like anything prior, but usually thumbnailing and penciling takes about an hour and a half at most.
Right.
Wow. A lot of time.
And then
a lot of time goes into it.
And then the digital part could go anywhere from 4 or 5 hours to 10 to 12 hours per page. It's just kind of how I've noticed for this latest issue.
How long has this issue been out?
Issue 1 has been out since December. And then issue 2 is still being worked on. I'm already 2 pages more into the story for issue 2 than I was for issue 1 before it got published. And then so I still got, it seems, probably about another 10 to 15 pages for issue number 2 before I'm going to wrap it up and get it ready to send to a printer. But that issue 2 is going to be a Kickstarter, so I do plan on sending out emails, and if you're watching my social media and everything, when I get a Kickstarter started, I want to be able to let everybody know, because it will be a little bit more expensive than this last issue, and I want to have a few more copies made. I hired an artist for this one to do the variant cover, which I'm very excited to show everyone, because he's doing an amazing job on it. But I did not go into this planning on doing print comics. I began in 2019 publishing on this app called Webtoon, and it was going to strictly just be on Webtoon. Fast forward to 2022, and I quit my full-time job. I did have a part-time job to help or to waiting on me, so I did go do that, and then I was going to work on my Webtoon almost exclusively as much as I could, and I did. And then in 2023, I did my first convention, and then the Deep South Paracon last year was my my second convention. And I went to the following one, and I kept getting a question at each of these conventions: "Is where's the print one? Where's the print one? Is this it? Is this it?" I had some zines about one of my characters. They would pull off, "Is this your comic?" And I'm like, "No, it's not a comic. It's all on this app." And for some reason, the app is free. Reading the comic was free, but getting people to go there and read it was proving kind of difficult. Even like my friends were just not responding to that that formula of it. So I started listening to this podcast called Comic Lab. These guys have been in the business for about 25 years. They've done a really good job explaining how to be an independent comic creator. And I have been following their advice to the best of my ability. But they post on multiple social media outlets, and once they post like I do right now, I post online per page. I take it into Photoshop, slice it up, and make it to where you scroll and you can read it that way on my website.
Awesome.
And then I update each page, or if I don't feel that a page has enough content or gusto in the story to post by itself, I'll wait until a few pages. Right now, I've been kind of in a hiatus because the past 2 or 3 weeks I've been working on a fight scene, and that fight scene is very divided up in my pages. So I have to kind of wait until that fight scene concludes, and then I'm going to post all of it. So that's the process. And so I do design it for print first, and then design it and then splice it up for the web. And that way I can have both of the best of both worlds. Like I said, eventually it's all going to be, 2 to 3 books. I don't really know how many books it's going to take to finish this story. But I'm hoping that I'll be done in the next 3 to 5 years on Envy. And then each volume of a book could run as much as $30 to $50. And if I do Kickstarters on those, that will give me excess books that I can sell at conventions and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to have to get one of your books. I'm intrigued with this. I really am. So, jumping off the subject, have you ever had a paranormal experience?
I have not, and I wish that I had. But some people say that you wish you could, and then you do, and then you want to go back. But
yeah,
I personally have not.
Oh, we'll have to change that. I'll just send something your way. Or where are you at? Well, there you go. Over that
you
side.
Remember, was it last year I led the investigation for Stan?
Yeah.
I took a lot of people, that had wanted to do a paranormal investigating, and I was able to take them out and teach them how to do it and let them experience some of the equipment and some of the things that we deal with during an investigation.
Well, some of the things, I hope a lot of people don't have to experience some of the things that we have.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to buy a copy of your comic, where would they go? Because you've got this one in book form.
So I don't have the logistics figured out for doing a physical sale. I do have it up on this website called Gumroad. I just put it up on Gumroad today, and it's kind of a e-file kind of source for all kinds of books and visuals and stuff like that. But they have a section for comics. Now you can't search it, but I do have a link to it on my Facebook page. And then a link to it on my website. But if you need a physical copy, I'll just need an address and I can send it to you.
Autographed, of course.
Of course.
To my best friend, Destiny. That'll work. If we were to stall out, we have a thunderstorm right now that we're going through. So Jessica will have to take over if we do leave for a minute.
She's shaking her head no.
I can't wait to meet you at the Paracon this year.
Well, he was there last year.
Yeah, I know. I'm
why.
trying to place him. I remember,
See, this is what happened. The guys were too interested in the tattoo artist that was there. And so they're like
Conchetta?
tattoo? Can we get a tattoo? And so I ended up buying all these tattoos of a fox on my arm. And so it was like running back and forth, running back and forth. Are you okay? Kobe had never had one before. And so he was real nervous. His face was blood red. And I kept having to run all the way across that building to the other side. Are you okay? Are you okay? And then I was trying to check on Michael. And then we had we gifted a friend of ours a tattoo as well. So I had 3 people over there. I'm trying to make sure everything's taken care of. And that's pretty much the story of my life all weekend, running from one side to the tattoo, back over to our table. But the Deep South Paracomic-Con is an awesome Paracon. This will be our 3rd year doing it, and they probably won't let us do it next year because I know they might be getting tired of us. But we're going to go anyway.
Well, it's my understanding that for some things, if you become a staple of it, then you kind of are one of the rising tides and one of those boats that goes with it. So I would I kind of hope to be a staple for this con. Last year they treated me really, really well. All the staff were really friendly. And everything was very receptive. Everybody was listening and laughing, and there was just a lot of joy in the vibe there. So I would really like to continue to come to it for as long as they'll let me.
I know. Constantly somebody was coming by like, are you okay? You guys need anything? You need water? Do you need anything? And so that impressed me a lot. They had the best volunteers ever there.
Stan and Teresa always have good people there.
Even if you look like something was wrong, they'd be like, are you okay? Do you need anything? And I was like, oh, they're so sweet.
Honestly, it's one of the best Paracons that we've been to. We've gone to Paracons all over the country.
Yes.
We've been to Vegas. We've been North Dakota. We've been to.
We have never been.
Or to not North Dakota, but it's
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's where that one was. Yes.
North Dakota, Wisconsin.
Yeah, they're right up there together.
Yeah, they're right up there together.
No, they're pretty close.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right then. I just think of out west, North Dakota.
Yeah. I didn't know that the term Paracon was like a kind of umbrella term for these kind of events.
Right. We have a friend. Actually, he's my mentor. He worked with me some of my psychic medium ability, and he actually works at a comic store. And he does these Comic-Cons in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I'm going to have to hook you 2 up. I think, he needs to know who you are.
Okay. Sounds good.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I've got my stuff posted up at the local comic book shop, but nobody reads this.
Oh.
They're there for the toys and the Wolverines, so and the Magic the Gathering, but to get put up in a shop is really kind of a not a part of the indie comic creators goal in any way, because even your big 2 are struggling when it comes to the comics industry as a physical form in floppy format. It's been kind of on a downhill trajectory and that's why they went into movies,
Right. And we may watch a series about your comics one day. You never know.
Yeah, you never know when Hollywood's going to come knocking.
That's right. Look at The Walking Dead. That would be so awesome.
Yep.
I have attempted to start writing a book myself about one of our cases. Then I have another one in mind. And, I know everything that I want in this book from beginning to end. But as far as putting it in words, it's just like, I haven't worked on it in a few weeks. And actually, Teresa is going to be editing this for me. And I know she's thinking, this girl ain't going to finish this book. She is just not going to do it. But I'm going to do it. You hear me,
Yeah.
Teresa? I'm going to do it, baby.
That's right. That's you just go in and you just start it. If you started it, you've already passed a hard part. So
Yeah, I did.
looking forward to that book.
What I'm wanting to do is go in and put in more detail. Like, have you ever watched The Walking Dead?
Mm-hmm.
Filmed in Georgia. The crickets in the background, those are real. And so I actually bring the crickets up in my book about a part of this investigation. We were outside, and I want to go back and I want to do more detail about how, crickets are a normal sound in Georgia. And then all of a sudden these crickets stopped, dead silence kind of thing. I want to go back and emphasize on why the crickets stopped. And, I want to add more to it. But I've never written a book. I'm not a writer. And it's difficult for me. I know everything I want to write down, but putting it in words. Do you ever have that problem? Like, you know what you want to write, but the story's just not coming together?
My most experience that I have in writing is I used to play World of Warcraft as late as last year. And when I played, I did not really partake in the gameplay aspect of it as much as I did the role play aspect of it. And there were dedicated servers and dedicated communities that like to do the role play essence of it. And when I did that, I learned a ton in writing because I could always tell when there was a bad writer, and you were just your character solely, but you could always tell when there was a bad writer because everything that you did was in either a bio for your character, or you type it out. You type out your interactions, you type out what you're doing and how you insinuate what your character's thinking, and then you have to give them dialogue, and you do all that. Your character doesn't show it as much on the screen as much as you describe it. So I did a ton of that since 2015, 14, somewhere. I did that for years. And you just get to learn kind of like what this person is really like. Their character is really likable because of this, and then this character is not likable, but they're a really good writer because of this. And you just kind of absorb that information. And that's how I've kind of developed a lot of my writing skills. And then when I'm creating for indie, the story is going so slow because I have to create all of it, that I have time to be thinking and jotting down notes for the following scenes and the following arcs and that kind of thing. So I have not struggled with any kind of block yet about that.
So, but in your writing, though, when you're doing these stories, you've got to come up with a character, give them a personality, and pretty much let them stick to that personality through the whole series or storyline.
Yeah. So you have to kind of walk a tightrope. For some characters, they're going to be static, and some characters are going to be dynamic. But you also have to understand what makes that character that character. And so, just like people in real life, unless they have some severe mental snap, they're generally going to have a lot of the same mannerisms, a lot of the same ways they look at things. Just a lot of characteristics carry over throughout their life. But in all that too, there's people that learn to see things differently, and they still have those characteristics, but they are going through their own character arc, so they have to get over kind of a challenge that makes them a different person. So it is walking a tightrope with some characters. It's, again, everything is moving so slowly. It's really not too hard to be thinking about the next step because I have so much time to think about it.
So when you're creating characters and their personalities, do you ever like make them people you know, give them those type of, like your best friend? Well, let's let this one be like my best friend over here. Let's let this one be like the neighbor down the street.
Yeah, so there's some people that I might reflect in real life, some characters I'll reflect from like real life or from personally known people. And then there are some characters that I will give a persona to, like so Satanus, Satan, this guy in the suit. I'm getting flipped around.
Yeah.
I gave him a Tony Stark persona.
Oh.
That's how I kind of think of him. That's how I kind of think about how he moves himself and how he talks. Again, you can't do a 1-for-1, but I think that's kind of impossible if you're writing a fiction. But I kind of slapped that persona on him, and or I had another character for a different story that I had slapped the Shane from The Walking Dead. I slapped his persona on that character.
I liked him. I mean, kind of. I don't like, you know what he did, but I mean that bad guy. I like that.
I'm really kind of anxious to sit down and read this comic.
Me too.
I really am.
Well, he said you could go read it somewhere else. See, now this is what you have to do: is you're going to have to bring Dark Destiny, which is going to be a cult leader. She's going to be this blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady.
Oh, yes.
And then she's going to come off all sweet and innocent, you know, and she's going to trick a lot of people into following her. But then come to find out she's all dark and, you know. I can see
yeah.
I can see that. I can see that.
Listen to you.
Yeah. And her sidekick, Jessica.
But you have to give Destiny a cattle prod because her number one power is shock treatment.
Yes. Yes.
You're already sounding it already sounds a lot like Asmodeus Lust, which is this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Is that a whip she has?
She has nothing at the moment. I think the print is a little dark.
Oh, okay. It's her arm, and then okay. I can see better. I see. Well, you've got to add a Destiny in there somewhere. We are looking forward to Deep South Paracomic-Con. I mean, we are planning on doing Gettysburg, which is a paranormal paracon. We're looking so forward to that. And then we're going back to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania for the Warrens Phantasmacon. I think that's what they call it. Yeah, and I think I love going to these cons better than I do investigating the paranormal. And what makes Deep South different is these people care about you. They really do. And you know, I'm privileged that Stan maybe just letting us come because we're on his radio network.
I doubt it.
I'm kidding.
I'm trying to get Stan.
Teresa. We've known them for a pretty good while now. It's kind of like there was this instant connection with Stan and Michael. They both grew up around the same area of North Carolina, and how their paths never crossed is beyond me.
Huh.
Because they know the same places. They used to go the same places.
We were so close and never met.
Right.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well,
Really
I
is.
got a funny story. I went to the Grand Canyon with my grandparents when I was in 8th grade, and we road tripped it. We stayed at hotels every night, did the whole road trip thing, and my grandpa got turned around some random city in Arizona, and he was like, I'm really trying to find this place, and I can't find it. I'm gonna have to ask for directions. He gets out and he goes to talk to this random man on the street. Hey, I'm trying to find XYZ. And my papa was wearing an Alabama shirt, a Crimson Tide shirt with the A. And he said, You're from Alabama? What part of Alabama are you from? And he's like, I'm from Arab. I'm just like, I'm from Ruth, Alabama. That's like right next to each other. They're literally across the highway here is Ruth, Alabama.
Right.
And we were like, how did we find this guy? Needle in the haystack kind of thing.
Right.
And he's almost kin to my grandpa.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And me and my granny were sitting in the car, and we had waited about 30 minutes. We're like, what is he doing? He's been talking about Arab the whole time that he was out there not getting directions.
It was definitely the angels, you know, sent him to the right person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I believe everything's predestined to happen that way.
Predestined.
Yeah.
Yep. It was an interesting time.
I've never been
but
to
I'm
the
trying to.
Canyon, but I think we flew over it.
Yeah, we flew over it.
Or close to it.
Yeah.
Going to Las Vegas.
I wasn't too impressed being an 8th grader, but now I'd probably see things a little differently.
Right.
Absolutely. I remember going places when I was younger, and it's just like, my God, when are we going to go home?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just turn around. Let's go home. And then now I'm wishing I could go back to those same places with the same people and respect it a lot more.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed with Las Vegas.
Right.
We're too old for Las Vegas. That place is too fast for us.
Everybody had their hand out in Las Vegas.
But let me tell you, I don't smoke marijuana or anything like that, but I stayed stoned the whole time we were there because it's legal there. And, you know, I'm real sensitive to meds anyway. Like, I can get a buzz on taking 3 ibuprofen. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you a bit. So when we go outside the motel, when you go out to get into the courtyard, you go past people that are out there smoking. Okay, so they're smoking cigarettes. Well, okay. But just as I walk through, these 2 guys are talking to each other, and they're like, one's on one side of the entrance and one's on the other. And then just as I walk through, both of them blow out that marijuana. It gets in my face. And what do you call it? A contact high? Look, Destiny was hungry. My son, like there was a guy drumming on paint cans and plastic buckets on the side of the sidewalk. We were walking down through there, and I'm just standing there, and I'm just so amazed. I mean, I'm just like, wow. And then my son recognizes, and he says, Mama, are you okay? And I said, oh, yes, baby, I'm fine. He said, Mama, come on, just hold my hand. Come on, I got you. Let's go. And I said, I'm hungry.
What really was weird in Vegas is
it's legal there.
It's legal there, and people are standing out on the sidewalk smoking their joints, and the police are walking by and saying, have a nice day, guys. Doing something.
Like around Carrollton, they'd be throwing you on the sidewalk, putting you in them cuffs.
Yeah.
You'd be in the
Was that
back
just
of
good?
a Coco car.
It makes me think of my first trip to Colorado after they legalized it. walk into this truck stop bathroom and it smelled like the gym locker room did when I was in high school. And I was like, oh, I was a CDL driver. I was like, I got to get out of here. I can't fail a drug test. And then I realized, oh, well, at least they're not going to get arrested. It's legal here. But dang, it kind of caught me off guard. I didn't get high off at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. I stayed stoned the whole time I was there. I would have flunked the drug test.
Yeah.
And I never.
Yeah.
I
Vegas.
can't even imagine you stoned. That's the funniest part of this.
And then I really was. And
I
then
can't.
one night there too, we had. No, I didn't snort this stuff, but so my son, I really didn't. So my son and Big Ronnie, Bubba, they were in our room, and they're just sitting there talking. And Bubba said, "That's a safe right there." And I said, "Yeah, that's what that is." And he said, "Well, I'm going to open it." And he said, "I wonder if there's a secret compartment." And so he's playing around with it, and him and my son lift this thing up inside the safe, and there were little baggies of white powder in there. And so my son's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "No." So I get this stuff and I take it and I'm going to flush it down the toilet because I don't want to go to jail or anything while I'm in Las Vegas. Nobody go on my bail. So I open this stuff up and I go and I throw it in the toilet. Well, when I go to shake it out, then a little mist come up and I think I breathed that in because later that evening, I mean, I was just like, something's not right here. I would go to the room and I'd be fine. Then we'd go back down in the casino and it would be like, oh no, Michael, you got to take me back to the room. Everything was spinning. So, you know, I'm not going to open any more baggies with white powder in them.
No.
So I'm just not going to do that. But Vegas, no, that's not for me.
We got lost in Vegas, kind of. We were just 2 years ago. We went to a festival and we were broke. I mean, I kept having to like call my mom and my friend to like kind of just give a little bit more so we can make it just a little bit more. But
Cash at me 50.
yeah. And after the festival, it was like 2 a.m. somewhere in that region. And we couldn't get like an Uber because that was going to be like $70-$80 from the strip. So we had to find a bus. We had to get on the bus and be like, I'm sorry, we don't have any cash. And instead of arguing with us, he just kind of pointed us to the back. We had to ride to some random spot that we thought is like kind of close to where our Airbnb was. And then her phone had died. And so we had to go into a gas station and let it charge. And I was like, what are we going to do? But she was able to pull up an Uber, and changing that location off of the strip to where we had got to was enough to put it down to like a $15 Uber drive. Mm-hmm. So that fortunately got us home. But I was like, we're going to have to spend the night in the gas station. Like, oh no.
We actually got lost in Vegas too. We stayed at the MGM Grand. And so when we left, the con was just all day. And we had barely had time to spend any time with the people who came with us. So we decided we were going to go on and explore. The train ends or begins right there at that motel. So we rode the train in, and I don't know, we were trying to get back to the train, and we ended up in this alley, and there's like all kind of shady looking people everywhere.
Oh,
and
no.
It's just like, oh no. But we were trying to recognize where we were to get back. And so, you know, that all the illegal stuff goes on in the alleys. We found out real fast. So we walked very fast. And then finally I recognized a motel name that we had seen. but we were not in front of it. We were behind it. And so we ran in that motel so that we could go out the front door of this motel. And then we got back on the train and safely ended up back. But I could see people getting lost there because it is so huge. There's so many things I wanted to see, and we had like 3 hours one night.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the motel, I remember walking from the room to where the event was, and it was a good 20-minute walk from our. And then as soon as I get there, one of the girls on our team was with us. She said, "Oh, you forgot the fox. We have a little teddy bear like fox, and it's wired for a REM pod, which means like we use it if the spirit gets close to it, then an alarm goes off and into it." And she said, "We really need that." And I'm like, "I am not walking all the way back there and back here. It would take me an hour." So, but yeah, I really didn't like Vegas a whole lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot at all.
Yeah. We just kind of determined that we'll just have to have a little bit of play money saved up for we're doing the festival again this year. We skipped last year, but we're a little bit better off right now. So we're trying again this year, which the festival's great. We went to go see some bands and concert. It's a massive concert, and that part's awesome. It was everything around it. We struggled to get the Airbnb. We'd struggled with the plane. We spent the night at the airport because we missed a flight. It was kind of everywhere. But I guess it's a quintessential Vegas story, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. We actually we had the Paracon going on there. Plus, they had the big rodeo the same time. So we had cowboys everywhere. And not only that, they had the big boxing match, which I think was in our motel, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
And so you had all
wow.
these famous boxers. And then me and my friend Michelle, we're walking down a hall. All of a sudden, this woman, pretty makeup, long evening gown, red. And then she's walking with this guy like buff, real huge. And then the next thing we know, there's photographers everywhere taking pictures of them. And so Michelle said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "Turn around." And so we stood behind them and smiled. So somewhere in a magazine somewhere is me and my friend Michelle smiling right behind them.
Yep.
Big. We finally lost Jessica. Bless her. But I can't wait for the Paracon and seeing you. I don't know how we missed you. You had the makeup on last time?
I had big horns on.
Oh, yes. I was scared of you. So I stayed away. But I remember seeing you. I just never got close to you because the guys were running back and forth to the tattoo table. So I remember seeing you now. Remember the horns? Because I told Michael, I said, "Oh my God."
I do remember.
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember the horns.
Yes. And I said, "Oh my God, Satan is here and he is coming to get me. And he's going to take me right to hell right here this weekend. It's my time to go." But yeah, it's been good to meet you. I know we haven't been in comic books, but the writing part fascinated me and the art part, and I can't wait to read it. I mean, send me links. I'm fascinated. I want to see. I want to know more.
Well, you're going to get a copy autographed.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
You'll need to send me the address, and I can get you a copy.
Awesome.
For sure.
Awesome. I look forward to that.
But yeah, it's based off, so kind of like how I in the World of Warcraft role playing, I got to play with the lore that was already established, or there was already big name characters, story, all that stuff going on for the actual game. And when you have a character, you get to kind of play off of that. and it really helps establish your character. It gives you kind of a little bit of a lifting point for a background. So I had a void elf, and that void elf had been kind of illegally, I guess you could say, touching and playing with the void, and that had got her into kind of a magical society that was trying to control the void and this and that, and then they got trapped in this other dimension having to deal with the void, but they did get control of it. They did learn that magic, and then they got rescued, and then they're back swept into the world, onto the world called Azeroth, and then they have to kind of find their way as a race, because they're not really welcome anywhere because of their association with the void. So that kind of gives me a little bit to go off of when developing the character. And with Envy, I get to use the Solomonic lore. There's kind of this demonic canon, I guess you could say, having to do with King Solomon. I don't believe this is scripture, but it is some other books maybe, or I guess you could say the closest thing I could really relate it to is fanfic of the time period, where Solomon had to control demons to build the temple, and he had to master kind of a demonological aspect and an exorcist aspect of this control, and that's where the Goetia comes from. The Goetia is the list and the catalog of all the demonic spirits. I believe they originate a lot from Greece and from Egypt, and from societies even older. So that kind of gave me a springboard to go off of, because there's the whole manual of that is in there, and it's really weird because it's a lot of like the usual demonic stuff that people think about and associate, but it's also like you got to be right with God to know how to do all this. Like you have to be right with God to be protected to do all this, and to fulfill this, the summoning and the getting correct answers or getting correct advice or whatever out of the demons, and to make them do what you want them to do. So but it's a very good source of inspiration for me, are the lesser keys of Solomon, and different things. I haven't jumped into this one, Invoking Angels, yet, but I know that there are several important pieces I can pull from there, and then the basically the Necronomicon, or the elucidation of necromancy, has some good stuff. Then it's all associated with kind of like that lesser key stuff, and that gives me a lot to pull from for the comic.
There you go. Now you're on my level. I'm a technologist, and we have done exorcisms. So yeah.
I feel kind of silly because in issue 2, the summoning of Envy happens, and I kind of got it backwards. I put the summoner in the triangle in which you're supposed to have the demon present itself, and then the demon came in the magical circle. It's a little bit backwards, and I didn't notice that until a few days ago when I re-looked at the source. But hopefully it won't be. Nobody's gonna really know.
No.
Nobody's going to know.
I'm just like I really want to get it right, and
now
then I
we know
don't get
how
it right.
you got into a different dimension. You got it backwards.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Which if I play my cards right, it'll make the bad guy that summoned the demon more of a bad guy.
Right.
And I can use that, but I
play off that.
Mm-hmm. But that's kind of the source and the inspiration.
Okay. Well, this hour has flown by, and it's been amazing to meet you.
It sure has.
Even though I was scared of you last year. Now I know you're not really the devil, so.
It was wonderful meeting you guys.
And don't forget your next character when you do another story. It's going to be Destiny, the dark cult leader that gives people shock treatment.
Right.
And I guess we will be seeing you at the Comic-Con this year.
Yep.
And Charles is late. Sorry I'm late. Had our class supper tonight. Okay. We forgive you. You can go back and rewatch it.
It's all right, Charles.
He's like our number one fan. He's like a brother to me, and I love him.
So we're going to hunt him down at the Paracon this year. So we can...
Yes, and hopefully Charles will be there. And he's decided in his life that he's going to get out more. And he's going to go places and do things. He just went to a Bigfoot conference a couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yes. And actually, he's intrigued with that because he has signs that there may be a Bigfoot on his property. So we don't know, but we're going to find out one day for sure. Austin, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
It sure has. I'm glad we did this.
Yes. So we're going to wrap it up and can't wait for Deep South Paracomic-Con. And I'm surprised I say it right. It's took me 2 years to get this out. You hear me? 2 years to say that correctly. So, but anyway, pleasure. See you in September. What is it? The 13th, 14th, 15th?
Yep. 14th, 15th.
Yes.
14th, 15th.
So we're going to be advertising that a whole lot more.
Yes.
And all right, guys. So until next week, Fox Paranormal Chat. Peace and love.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone. See you.
Bye.